Hi, everyone. This is Heather with the Old Schoolhouse, and I am here with Adam Brickley of the Bill of Rights Institute. For those of you watching in the Facebook group for schoolhouseteachers.com, if you would like to leave a question or a comment for Adam, if you want to have your question come up on the screen during this interview, then please grant permission to StreamYard so we can use your name. And for anybody else watching any other platform, please comment, like, share, get this video out to your friends. We have some exciting things to talk about. He's going to be talking about MyImpact Challenge, which I cannot wait to hear more about. And now I am so excited to introduce to you Adam Brickley. Prior to joining the Bill of Rights Institute in 2021, he worked for 11 years as an events professional in the Heritage Foundation's Lectures and Seminars Department. He also helped launch several educational programs for interns and authored a successful political blog during the 2008 presidential election. Adam holds a bachelor's in political science with a focus on global politics from the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. He is very passionate about civil discourse, international politics, and forging creative coalitions across political and ideological lines. I am so excited that you have joined us today, Adam. Thank you for being here.
It is good to be here. Good to be with you.
So you are with the Bill of Rights Institute, which is an organization that we are familiar with. We are familiar with your resources, and we've talked to someone from your company before, but what we are talking about today is MyImpact Challenge, which is something that you birthed when you came to the company. Is that correct?
Well, it's the brainchild actually of our director of outreach, Rachel Davison-Humphreys, but it's my job. So they brought me on to help launch the MyImpact Challenge last year with our first national year, and this is our second contest year, and it's been a blast getting this national service contest up and running.
That is wonderful. I would love if you could just share with us a little bit about the MyImpact Challenge.
Yeah, so obviously I'm with the Bill of Rights Institute. We are a history and civics free open source curriculum institution. So you can find all of our curriculum, U.S. history and civics online. MyImpact Challenge is our national service project contest for students aged 13 to 19. So we wanted to get our students out doing things in their communities and helping make a difference in ways that align with constitutional principles, founding principles, civic virtues. And so essentially the backbone of MyImpact Challenge is a student or a group of students do a project in their community to help community service. And then they can send us a principles essay of 1,200 words on how their project aligns with civic virtue and constitutional principles, project report of 2,000 words or less on what they did, their implementation, their inspiration, how they carried out their project, and then some photo or video documentation, and they can be entered for a chance to win up to $10,000. That's our first prize, down through our honorable mention prizes, which are $1,500 apiece. We also have prizes for teachers, which does include homeschool parents for children who win or for volume of entries. So we have $40,000 in total cash prizes. We have 10 different student prizes, and we're trying to get kids doing service projects in their community. And hopefully we'll have some entries that are from the homeschool community this year.
I would love that. Well, what Adam didn't tell you is Adam was a homeschooler himself.
Yes.
So he understands the homeschool community. And from my experience, most homeschoolers love a good challenge. So this is speaking their language for sure. So I am positive you are going to get some entries from the homeschool community. Would you mind talking about what an entry might look like? What type of service project you've seen in the past?
We've seen a lot of different service projects, whether it's a local food drive, advocating before city council. We have 3 pillars. If you look at, we have an associated curriculum if you want to design your students' service or have their student design their own service project of 6 lessons on government, charity, and entrepreneurship as 3 ways that you can work in your community. So some examples would be our winner last year worked with the American Red Cross to start a disaster education program for teens in low-income neighborhoods. One of our other major winners advocated for a farmer's market in a suburban town around Chicago with the local city council. I've seen entries. We had a group of students in a school advocating for a traffic light to help just direct traffic around the school. So anything of that, food drives, clothing drives, whether it's charity It's something to help the local community charitably. And we can have entrepreneurship. I've seen students starting businesses. That's one of our pillars is entrepreneurship. So you could be starting a for-profit business that if it's helping out with problems in your local community, you can enter a business.
Wow.
As a project. So if you're doing any form of service, that's our thing is I don't want to get ahead of the interview, but we like to say it's civics, not govics. So advocating before your local city council and getting involved in your local debates is something that you can do, and there's a place for that. But there's also a place for charitable action where government might not be the best solution to a problem, or even for entrepreneurial action. So we like to talk about civil society and involvement as a citizen, really spanning those three things.
And there can be so much red tape when it comes to government, but I heard somebody say to Homeschool Convention one time that kids can get away with anything. And maybe that's not a good way to look at it, but really there are a lot of things that kids can do in our community business-wise that they might not be able to do necessarily as easily when they're older. So starting up these businesses or, getting their feet wet at this age is a great idea. And I like that this is an opportunity for them to be pushed in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a good opportunity to get out in your community, whether that, again, you can talk to your local government, and local government is often the most effective government to talk to. Your city council can be very close, or even your planning district or your water district or whatever works with the problem you see in your community can be a really good avenue to talk to local government. But, private charity makes the world go round, and entrepreneurship can also help. And I'll take this time to plug our 6-lesson curriculum, which you can download on our website at myimpactchallenge.org. If you don't already have a service project, like if you're not already volunteering somewhere or working in some sort of civic project, we offer 6 lessons. They're workbook style, downloadable, free on our website. And they start by taking you to the idea of what problems do you see in your community. And you could define your community as your house of worship, your sports team, your friend group, but then looking at, do you see what problems or inefficiencies do you see? And then we walk you through root cause analysis using some business design tools, design thinking, root cause analysis. We run you through the history of American charity, which is Ben Franklin and his Junto Club, were this amazing running dinner party that Benjamin Franklin had for 38 years, where he used the same battery of questions. And out of that came the University of Pennsylvania, the Volunteer Fire Brigade, the first lending library in the United States, and this whole list of other charities. So we definitely take you back with that. And then we talk about how entrepreneurs have influenced society, running from Andrew Carnegie all the way up to people like Oprah Winfrey, and then really try to drill down on what is the founding principles and civic virtues in your project. So we are really excited about the curriculum as well, in the sense of not just catching people who are already doing service projects as contest entrants, but in terms of helping students design projects that are really targeted at their local community and they can really see the impact. Because a lot of people try to take action on big national debates, which is great. But from the standpoint of learning, if you take action on a hyper local issue, you're more likely to see the tangible change that you have made in society as a student.
Wow, that's really good, because it can be overwhelming when you see all the needs nationally. So to be able to just focus in on what's around you, I love that. Yeah. And so you said this curriculum it's 6 lessons.
Yes.
Okay, so we're coming into Christmas. So to all the homeschool parents out there, this is a perfect time, because a lot of us slow down and are looking for, different types of materials to use between now and the new year. So I think this would be a great time. Yes. This is when our eyes are open to the needs around us a lot of times. So this is a perfect time. So I definitely suggest that everyone go over to the website and check that out, download it, and implement it in your homeschool. And this is primarily for ages 12 and up. Is that correct?
13 to 19, yes.
Okay. All right. 13 to 19. That is wonderful. So did you have any other ways, since we're talking to homeschoolers, that the Bill of Rights Institute can help homeschooling families?
Well, yeah. So our main business is the wrong word. What we do is we do history and civics curriculum, all for free online open source. So any history or civics questions you have, just go to billofrightsinstitute.org and use the search bar, and you'll be amazed what you can find. It's not just the Bill of Rights. We have a full online AP US history curriculum called Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness, which is fantastic. It works with AP US history standards. It's all free. It's all open source. It's voluminous. It would be like that if we printed it out. It's all digital. And there's a menu of different sources you can choose from on each and every topic in history. It's a lot of point-counterpoint essays. I always cite the Christopher Columbus one as, here's a scholar writing who thinks that Christopher Columbus is awesome. Here's a scholar writing that thinks that Christopher Columbus is not awesome at all. We're not going to tell you who to believe because that's not our job. We have a lot of primary sources in there. We really live by primary sources as a good way to learn history, because who's writing at different times is the right way to look at. We have a lot of visual primary sources. And then that whole curriculum is available online. We have other curriculums. We just rolled out building blocks of prosperity, an economics curriculum that we did with a lot of videos with the Hoover Institution. One resource I really like to plug that we just finished is actually called Plainest Demands of Justice. And that's our primary source compendium on African-American history, which is a really great supplement to any U.S. history curriculum. And it's amazing because the way we did it is just, here's a document that was written at a certain time in history. We're not going to tell you how to interpret it. We're going to just present it to you and let you look at the history. And then you can put your own feelings in there and look at it. And so that's one of our newest resources that we think has actually been really good. And so, yeah, we have the full gamut of U.S. history and civics curriculum. And our mantra is really primary sources and founding documents. So you can find a really great library of resources on billofrightsinstitute.org, of which MyImpact Challenge is one.
And I appreciate these resources because, everything is so different from when I grew up. Now the kids have social media, so they're exposed to current events and even historical events and opinions on historical events through social media in a way that I never was as a child. So to have this grounding and to have the resources available for the parent who can go in and choose these for free and create their own curriculum. I mean, there's so many parents out there who, I'm one of them, who like to, pick and choose. I don't like to just buy something and have everything given to me, but I can pick and choose. Okay, this is a topic we need to discuss. So I could see homeschooling families just loving this and using this in a way where they can just design it themselves for the next year, for the rest of high school, because you have AP courses you mentioned, I believe. Yes. So you have everything.
And you can, and even if you're just using it as a research source, the kids can use it too. I mean, just use the search bar for whatever you're writing on. You're going to find something.
That is wonderful. I definitely want to hear more about the MyImpact Challenge and the details and how everyone can enter me. We can touch on that again at the end of this interview, because I'm really curious what you see as one of the biggest challenges that students face today.
Well, at least from our perspective, one of the big challenges is really getting out the idea of civil society and what it means to be a fully engaged citizen. It doesn't just mean, knowing current events or being involved with the government. It involves, yes, knowing government and how our government works, but it also involves knowing that there's a place for private charity and that it plays a very big role in American society. If you look at people like Alexis de Tocqueville talking about, in France, you might find a government entity doing something. In America, you find a civic association, and that he's writing in the 1800s. That's not a modern document. So knowing that, and then knowing that there's a place for the business community and entrepreneurship, that the idea of citizenship, not just knowing how the government works, but to be a citizen and to understand that involves also your involvement with the charitable sector, your involvement with the entrepreneurial sector, and that there's a much broader idea of getting people to participate in civil society as a whole, which is really what we've tried. I keep pointing the wrong way, which is really what we've tried to drill into with MyImpact Challenge. It's a really holistic view of citizenship and engaged citizenship and being a part of the solution to problems around you, because that's really an American way of doing things, going all the way back to how Alexis de Tocqueville described America in the 19th century.
Right. So it's not competing with, the government programs out there. It's just there's such a need that it's seeing the need and recognizing that you can help and that you can meet those needs in your area.
Yeah. And sometimes we have 3 pillars in our MyImpact curriculum of problem solving for local communities, and they're government, charity, and entrepreneurship. And one of them is sometimes the government is part of the solution, especially at the local level. If you're working with something with your local water district, you need to talk to the water board. One of our winning projects last year that came in 3rd in the national contest was 2 young ladies in suburban Chicago who were advocating to their city council to institute a local farmers market and get the permitting for that. But there's also the charity pillar, which is that a lot of times the solution to a problem is a private charitable action that can do things that government necessarily isn't empowered to do and can't really do effectively. And then the third pillar is entrepreneurship. Sometimes the solution to a social problem is a social enterprise and a for-profit business that's providing products that are needed in the community. So those are our three pillars: government, charity, and entrepreneurship. And we want you to understand that civil society means all three.
That is wonderful. I was wondering what are challenges that teens face when they're looking for these ways? So parents might be watching, teens might be watching. They want to look for ways to serve in the community. What are challenges that they might face when they're looking to find out how to do that?
Well, one of the big challenges is just what do I do, and how do we decide what to do? And that's one thing our curriculum really has tried to drill down on. Is lesson one is just identifying issues in your community, and it's define what communities are you a part of. Again, your church, your sports team, your homeschool group. What dysfunctions do you see in that group? Well, dysfunctions is the wrong word, but what potential issues do you see that are inefficient? And then how do you solve them? And so really making the decision on what you can do in your community, and then drilling down to your local community and what you're passionate about. There's a quote we like to use about where does your, I can't remember the quote right now, but it's your deep passion meet the world's deep need. And finding the synthesis of that, not just follow your passions and not just do the thing to do the thing, but where do your passions intersect with what the world needs from you, and really finding that. And hopefully we've tried to do that with MyImpact Challenge and with our curriculum.
Wow, that's really good. And I like how you honed in on the fact that community, it doesn't have to mean the community that, your neighborhood, but it could be your church or your homeschool group, or it could be, the people that you interact with every day. So if somebody wanted to start, talk to their pastor and start a clothes closet in their church, or, start, something in their homeschool group, that's something that would count.
Those are an act of citizenship. If you talk to your pastor about starting a clothes closet, that's an important part of not just, what you're doing in your religious group, but it's an important part of being a citizen. Like, our society runs on little actions like that. And it's part of your engagement with society. So
if you could give parents one piece of advice for their students, what would that be?
I would say, in terms of just the idea of service projects and things like that, you can trust your kids' intuition on what needs to be done and give them some power to really get involved in their communities like this. One thing we tell teachers when we're talking about this program to other schools is that sometimes kids have a better knowledge of the communities they're in than the adults, because they're walking the streets. They're seeing things where sometimes one or both parents are commuting out of the community every day. So when we're pitching this to public or private schools, we do tell them, leverage the knowledge that your kids have, because they may be actual better sources than the adults on what's going on at the street level in your community. And I think that's true for homeschoolers too, is that we actually need the information that kids have that adults may not have. So I would say, give your kids the power to go out and make a difference with their own creativity. And I think you're going to be surprised to see what they can come up with.
Wow. I love that. So for kids who are involved right now, they maybe started their own organization or helping in their community. Can you walk through the process of how they would enter, where they would go, what they need to submit? I heard an essay. What else would they need?
So let's start with the deadline to submit projects this year is May 21st, 2023, and we'll announce our winners in June. So May 21st is your deadline. The submission portal is online at myimpactchallenge.org. There's a button that says submit your project. For what it's worth, the submissions are open now. So they're open now until May 26th. If you have a project that you've already done in this contest year, then by all means, write up your essays and get it in. It has to be a completed or in process service project. So it can be something that you've been working on for a couple of years. As long as you did stuff this year, you're able to enter. Or it could be something you start this year. And if you don't quite finish it, as long as you did stuff and you can prove that you're past the planning stage, that you're actually out in your community doing things, you're welcome to enter. And as I said, the submission packet is, you need three things. You need a project report of 2,000 words detailing your project's planning and inspiration and execution. You need a principles essay outlining how your project meets one of BRI's founding principles list. We have a list of those, and one of our civic virtues. We have a list of those as well. You can find those on our website. And then you need either photo or video documentation. I think it's 10 to 20 photos or a video of 5 minutes, and there's some rules on if you wanted to submit both. All of these guidelines are on our website at myimpactchallenge.org. You can see the full guidelines for the submission proposal. You can also see our full judging rubric. So if you want to see where you get points for each of these essays, we'll tell you it's 10 points for this, it's 10 points for this, it's 10 points for this. And so that's the submission packet, and you can find all the information on how to enter at myimpactchallenge.org.
That is wonderful. And so parents who are watching, and they might have several children that might want to enter together, maybe they're working together on a project, how would they go about doing that?
We take group entries of up to 5. So it's designed for individual entries, but groups of up to 5 can enter. If you win one of our monetary prizes, which go up to $10,000, which is our grand prize, we would split, evenly among the entrants. And we encourage groups and individuals to enter. And I don't know if I've mentioned already, but our grand prize is $10,000. We have 10 student prizes ranging from $1,500 to $10,000. We also have prizes for teachers, which does include homeschool parents, for the teacher of the student that wins first prize, the teacher that generates the most individual entries, or teachers that generate multiple entries. Those can win $250 to $500.
Wow. And these are cash prizes. So this isn't a scholarship. These are...
If you want to use it to pay for your education, that's great. If you need to pay for a new tractor on the family farm, that's also great. If you want to pour it back into the project, that's great. We do cash monetary prizes.
Well, that is so exciting. I know parents are watching, and they're going to head over and start creating their curriculum for this right away.
Yeah, please do.
Absolutely.
And for what it's worth, I also provide as much live tech support as I can. This contest is my entire job. And you can reach me really, really easily at myimpact@mybri.org. I'm going to drop that in the chat, in fact.
Wonderful. Please do. And before we sign off, I was just wondering if maybe you could just share a few. I know you shared some of the top entries. Can you maybe share some of the other entries? Because I would just love to have these parents and kids just brainstorming, because I know you probably have such a wide range of entries that you receive. Can you just share a couple more?
Oh, yeah. We've heard some of the top ones. I think the top one I didn't mention, our second place entry was a young lady who started a national poetry and art contest. That was fantastic. We had another winner from a student at an art school who started a mural painting society and went and figured out the permitting process and painted a bunch of murals. I think that was in Palm Beach.
Wow.
We've had somebody who was teaching robotics. We had somebody who was teaching a chess club. We had one group that they made origami cranes for a local retirement home. I'm trying to think. I've seen all sorts of things. We had one project I saw that was a person selling, of all things, slime that they'd made. For people sometimes have mental focus issues, can crunch slime with crunchings in it, and so this person had benefited from that and was selling it.
Wow.
And figured out how to make it. So we've seen a wide variety of projects in there, and some things are as small as we had a class in one public school, I think, that was just advocating for a traffic light to alleviate a traffic problem. They were writing letters to city council because they wanted a traffic light in front of their school.
Yeah.
So there's, like I said, some involve going to the local government, some involve private charitable action. I think I saw a prom dress drive. I saw food drives. Trying to think what else I saw. We had a church youth group that was doing an event at their church with it was an annual backpack giveaway that their church did. So they had a really bang up project. So we've seen a lot of stuff from across the gamut in terms of who's entering and in terms of what they're entering. We've seen it all, and I think it's a really good thing. The other thing I'd say in terms of, it's not just the project that you enter, but it's also on the principles essay, especially how you present it, because it's easy to grab certain principles like justice and equality are on our list, and those were the most used ones, which if you define those really well are great, but know that everybody else is using those as their founding principles. Whereas our winner, who did a disaster preparedness education for youth in LA in concert with the Red Cross, he was doing disaster preparedness, and he read the brief, and his founding civic virtue was prudence. And I think he was the only entrant in the entire contest that cited prudence as his motivating virtue, and he won.
Wow.
So think about if you go in and look at our submission guidelines, it really roots back into constitutional principles and civic virtues. And you should think concretely about what virtues and what principles your project epitomizes, because that helps you build a stronger entry. And that's really the secret sauce of this contest versus other contests that involve entrepreneurship or civics, is we really want to make sure you're going back and grounding your civic action in constitutional principles. And we have an essay to make you really dial in on that.
Yeah, I mean, and then it just shows you that this is for the long haul. I mean, you're building the foundation on these principles. It's not just doing this, to get recognition in the community, but you're doing it because you have these principles and your heart's in it, and this is what you want to see. And as you were sharing all of the examples, it was hard for me to rein in the fact that these are all kids. I mean, these are kids. Yes. These are not parents doing this. These are ideas that kids came up with. And I bet reading those essays are just so wonderful.
Oh, the essays are fantastic. And even as a kid, you can start your own nonprofit if you want to. You can start your own business. You can do a lot of things in middle and high school.
Yeah. And I love that you're encouraging students to do that and getting out there in their community and basing it on these principles. I mean, this is just such a well-rounded approach. I absolutely love it. Is there anything else that you would like to share about MyImpact Challenge, about the Bill of Rights Institute before we sign off?
I think the biggest thing is just go to our website and look around it. For MyImpact and for Bill of Rights Institute, we have a lot of resources that are available at your fingertips. We don't sell anything. We're donor supported. So all of our resources are available free, open source, online. Take any of it and use it. I do really hope you'll look at MyImpact Challenge, both the contest and the curriculum, and looking at how your students can get involved in their communities. And again, I really would love to see more homeschool representation in this contest. I come from the homeschool community myself. I know there's a lot of dynamism and motivation in that community, and I'd really just love to see what homeschoolers can come up with when they're confronted with the idea of how to help in their communities in this way.
All right, guys, let's do it. Let's see a homeschooler win this competition. Let's see you in the top for sure. And thank you so much, Adam. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I just want to let you know that beginning in 2023, that we will be moving our homeschool lives to Wednesdays. It'll be on the same channels. It'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern time, but it'll be on Wednesday. So I hope to see you there. This is our last one for 2022. So I hope that you will have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. And if you are not yet a member of schoolhouseteachers.com and you are looking for some resources, maybe some Christmas resources that you can download, or some courses that you want to start up in the beginning of the year for a mid-year switch, head over to schoolhouseteachers.com, use the promo code FreshStart23, and you will be able to test out and use everything available at schoolhouseteachers.com for only $90 for 9 months. So check that out. It is a wonderful deal. It is a new option that we are rolling out. We're so excited about it, and I hope that you'll take advantage of it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you again, Adam. We will see you next time.
Thank you so much.